The moment the delicate Lotus of Desolation appeared in Xiao Yan's palm, EngSubs felt an overwhelming aura of destruction rise from within. This is bad. Although EngSubs was indeed the true twin Ghost Emperor, had his ghostly chi fully recovered, even a battle against a 8-star Do D wouldn't have been an issue. For him to feel such fear now meant that Xiao Yan's attack was terrifying beyond measure. As the dreadful Lotus appeared, an inexplicable dread crept into EngSubs' heart. Instinctively, he swallowed the evil hand at his side, and two forces began to swirl slowly before him, as if forming something tangible. Boom, boom, boom. The Lotus of Desolation instantly seized everyone's attention as it materialized. The Lotus was exquisite, encircled by two distinct rings of energy. One was a ring of fire containing 23 different colors. Though small, the energy within was formidable enough that even a 5-star Do D would not dare underestimate it. The other ring was an invisible force, a blend of spiritual and soul energy that Xiao Yan had refined specifically to counter ghosts. At the very core of the Lotus lay its most destructive power and the mysterious force of the soul-devouring talisman. Only Xiao Yan knew the full extent of this Lotus's might. It had absorbed a significant portion of the soul-devouring talisman's energy, one of the 12 demonic weapons of the ghost realm, a lethal threat to the twin Ghost Emperors. Why does Xiao Yan carry the aura of Brother Yanji? Mu Yingying, standing nearby, was the first to notice. She sank into deep thought. There were only two explanations for such an aura. Either it had been forcibly taken, or it had been willingly bestowed. But Mu Yingying couldn't believe that Xiao Yan would be granted such power willingly. If you've harmed Brother Yanji in any way, I swear I'll kill you, Xiao Yan. A quiet vow echoed in Mu Yingying's heart. Damn humans. EngSubs cursed, ceasing his attempt to absorb Xiao Yan's purifying energy and the ghostly chi from the blood-red vortex. The two swirling powers around him were on the verge of emerging. EngSubs' original plan was to use Xiao Yan's vast purifying energy to restore his peak state. After all, despite the terrifying power of purification and fire, for an immortal being like the twin Ghost Emperor, converting these energies was a mere technicality. But what EngSubs hadn't anticipated was that this purifying power wasn't even Xiao Yan's trump card. When the Lotus of Desolation slammed into the blood-red vortex, EngSubs felt a surge of destructive energy. At the same time, Xiao Yan, having launched his attack, felt his strength drain rapidly, reverting him back to the early stage of a 4-star Do D. Though satisfied with his brief rise to 7-star Do D, Xiao Yan knew well enough that such shortcuts weren't sustainable. He understood that true progress had to be earned. With his trump card deployed, Xiao Yan wasted no time retreating from the vortex. He knew that this improved version of the Lotus of Desolation, now infused with the soul-devouring talisman, was far more powerful than ever before. Boom, boom, boom. As soon as the terrifying Lotus touched the vortex's edge, it unleashed unimaginable destructive force. First, the outer ring of the Lotus of Desolation, with its 23 colored flames, violently tore apart the edge of the blood-red vortex, creating a gap that led directly into its core. The Lotus surged through the gap, entering the vortex's dark space where EngSubs, a mysterious woman in white, and two swirling forces awaited. The blood-red vortex has been breached, Changyu exclaimed with excitement. With the outer defense shattered, hope finally seemed within reach. What kind of power is this? EngSubs muttered, his voice heavy with disbelief. He hadn't expected Xiao Yan's attack to break through his carefully constructed ghost arts. Even he found it hard to accept. Whatever. I don't know what trick you used, but it ends here, EngSubs said coldly, as his aura surged once more. His ghostly chi rapidly recovered, returning to 90% of its full strength. With a terrifying burst of ghostly chi, the two swirling forces materialized before him, and in an instant, they merged into a set of black armor on EngSubs' body. At the same time, a massive broadsword slowly appeared in his hand. Ghost Emperor armor, Ghost Underworld blade. The expression on the face of the Nine-Soul Steel turned grim. Damn it! I thought the Ghost Emperor armor and Ghost Underworld blade were lost after EngSubs was sealed, but it turns out he had hidden them all along, the Nine-Soul Steel muttered with a look of concern. No one knew the power of the Ghost Emperor armor and Ghost Underworld blade better than he did. Thousands of years ago, the twin Ghost Emperors had used their powerful 7-rank Ghost Emperor strength, combined with the armor and blade, to wreak havoc across the mystic three heavens. Now, with EngSubs' current strength boosted by these two weapons, even a 9-star Do D would struggle against him, let alone Xiao Yan, who had only reached the 7-star Do D level temporarily. Boy, I have to admit, for someone with the mere strength of a 4-star Do D, you've managed to unleash a power even I fear. But in this world, strength is everything. Against me, you're still far too inexperienced. Die with regret. EngSubs laughed maniacally as a chilling aura filled the air. Ghost Underworld / EngSubs, his once white-robed figure now clad in black armor, gripped the massive blade tightly. A terrifying energy surged forth, and with a sweep of his sword, an immense black slash, hundreds of meters long, erupted from his weapon. As the Lotus of Desolation entered the vortex, EngSubs' voice echoed. In its wake came the overwhelming force of the black slash, accompanied by a sound as though the very heavens were splitting apart. Xiao Yan kept his distance, though the Lotus of Desolation remained under his control, hovering near the small breach in the blood-red vortex's edge. Shwa, shwa. A pitch-black blade aura surged forth from within the vortex, aiming straight for the small opening. At the same time, an intense heat emanated from the breach, as if a delicate lotus was about to bloom. Go! Understanding this was his final strike, Xiao Yan poured every last bit of his remaining Do Qi into the Lotus of Desolation. Instantly, those watching could see through the breach in the vortex. A massive black blade aura was rushing toward a rapidly approaching, exquisitely glowing lotus. The impending collision was certain to unleash an earth-shattering explosion. Victory or defeat would be decided in this moment. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying wave of energy erupted from the vortex. At the same time, the once impenetrable blood-red vortex began to show signs of collapse, accompanied by blasts of scorching heat. The next instant, EngSubs' Ghost Underworld blade clashed fiercely with Xiao Yan's Lotus of Desolation. Shwa, shwa. The two horrifying forces collided violently. 100-meter-long black blade imbued with malevolent ghostly qi clashed with the Lotus's radiant energy, creating a massive explosion that radiated outward in all directions. As the two forces neared each other, the terrifying blast spread throughout the dark space within the vortex, illuminating everything in a bright, fiery glow. Simultaneously, a woman stood tall within the vortex. Her once white robe was now covered in heavy armor, and her armor was decorated with snarling, sinister faces, radiating rings of terrifying power. Her smile, however, was unnervingly strange. On the other side, Xiao Yan stood facing the vortex, though his Do Qi was almost entirely depleted. Fortunately, as a high-level alchemist, Xiao Yan had a decent supply of recovery pills. Without hesitation, he began swallowing the pills while keeping his eyes fixed on the battle inside the vortex. At this point, Xiao Yan no longer cared about conserving his precious high-tier pills, devouring them one after another. As the pills took effect, a gentle warmth began to spread through his body, gradually restoring his depleted Do Qi. Cough, cough. The next moment, the fiery armor on Xiao Yan's body shattered, and little E, the small figure cloaked in milky white flames, reappeared in front of him. However, little E looked extremely weak, its once bright flames now dim. This first possession didn't turn out as well as I'd hoped. Little E muttered in frustration, clearly unhappy that it hadn't managed to unleash much power during the fusion. No worries, Xiao Yan chuckled, reassuring the little flame spirit. With little E reappearing, Xiao Yan's strength had returned to its original level, early stage 4-star Do D, but his body showed no signs of strain. After all, his earlier surge in power had been fueled by the pure energy of 3 7-star Do Dis, so the temporary boost had left no lasting damage. That Ghost Underworld slash is the twin Ghost Emperor's signature move. Legend has it that thousands of years ago, countless 7-star Do D experts perished under that technique. Nine Soul Steel remarked quietly. Who do you think has the upper hand, Xiao Yan or Xie? Changyu muttered to himself. Although he wasn't sure why, Changyu had a gut feeling that the three-layered energy of Xiao Yan's Lotus of Desolation held immense power. The outer ring of fire was undoubtedly strong, but not enough to strike fear into Xie. It was the second layer, a combination of soul and spiritual energy that truly frightened him. As for the core of the lotus, Changyu felt an overwhelming dread, as if it concealed a power far beyond his comprehension. Hard to say. This kid, Xiao Yan, probably has a few secrets up his sleeve. Even I wouldn't dare take that lotus head-on. But the twin ghost emperor still hasn't fully recovered his peak strength. We'll wait and see. If things take a bad turn, the two of us will jump in. No way we're letting this kid die here. Nine Soul Steel said gravely, keeping a close eye on the battle raging within the vortex. Strange. Why is there an invisible force around Xiao Yan? Mu Yingying murmured, paying little attention to Nine Soul Steel's words. Her gaze was fixed on the space surrounding Xiao Yan, which seemed to ripple ever so slightly. If one didn't look closely, they'd miss it entirely. Boom, boom, boom. The clash inside the vortex grew even fiercer, with the massive black blade aura and the Lotus of Desolation savagely crashing into each other. Yet something strange occurred. Their energies didn't immediately explode. Surrounding the lotus were two terrifying forces that seemed to momentarily hold the blade aura at bay. At first contact, the blade aura collided fiercely with the flaming energy surrounding the lotus. After a few moments, the outermost layer of fire was shattered by the black blade, revealing the second layer, the fusion of soul and spiritual energy. Damn, brat. Xie grunted coldly. With another push, the terrifying blade aura broke through the second layer of the lotus's defense. The 100-meter black blade aura was razor-sharp, slicing through the second layer of the Lotus of Desolation. As the two layers fell apart, the innermost core of the lotus was finally revealed. Russell, it seems the heavens are not on your side. Xie sneered, bursting into laughter. At this point, the outcome of the battle seemed all but certain. The terrifying blade aura sliced through the second layer of defense without losing any of its momentum. Controlled by Xie, the blade continued its relentless assault, aimed directly at the lotus core. Shwa, shwa. The ferocious blade aura struck the Lotus of Desolation dead on. Flames burst out from the lotus, struggling to fend off the corrosive power of the blade. Sinister, snarling ghostly faces emerged from the blade, furiously attacking the surrounding flames. Boom, boom, boom. Under the ferocious onslaught of the blade aura, the Lotus of Desolation began to falter. In the next moment, it was cleaved in half by the terrifying strike. We've lost. The countless spectators on the ground were filled with dread as they witnessed this, a sense of impending doom hanging over them. Shwa, you're finished? Xie laughed, feeling triumphant. With the humans' last line of defense shattered, their fate was sealed. Not necessarily, Xiao Yan sneered. His pupils shrank as a terrifying pulse of energy suddenly emanated, not from him, but from the severed Lotus of Desolation within the blood-red vortex. Lotus of Desolation. Banish the evil. A commanding voice echoed across the sky. With it, the blade aura released by the ghost underworld blade dissipated. Yet as Xiao Yan's voice rang out, the split halves of the Lotus of Desolation surged forward with renewed speed, racing toward Xie, now mere inches away. Damn it! Xie roared, furious that Xiao Yan had yet another trick up his sleeve. At that moment, an ominous black aura began to rise from the two halves of the Lotus of Desolation. The previously smug Xie froze, his pupils contracting as fear overtook him. His body trembled at the sight of the black aura. What the hell is that black energy? Why does it fill me with dread? Xie's mind raced as he quickly tried to calculate his next move. Without wasting another second, he activated the Ghost Emperor armor, enveloping himself in a thick barrier of ghostly chi in an attempt to resist the power of the Lotus. Without the blade aura to hinder it, the Lotus of Desolation slammed directly into the barrier of black ghostly chi surrounding Xie, the defense formed by the Ghost Emperor armor. A defense known for its incredible durability. In the sky, Xiao Yan shook his head slightly, smiling. Boom, boom, boom. Even though the lotus had been sliced in two, its power had not diminished in the slightest. Xiao Yan had deliberately weakened the outer defenses of the lotus to lower EngSubs' guard, setting up this devastating final blow. Thankfully, Xiao Yan's ploy had succeeded. EngSubs hadn't noticed the subtle manipulation. Now, EngSubs was struggling to withstand the full force of the Lotus of Desolation. Boom, boom, boom. The lotus collided with EngSubs' black, ghostly chi barrier, releasing an explosive force. A massive mushroom cloud, hundreds of meters wide, erupted from within the blood-red vortex. The once indestructible vortex shattered under the relentless assault of the lotus's heat and destructive power. Shwa, shwa. The terrifying explosion continued to pound against EngSubs, but his immense strength allowed him to withstand the majority of the damage. However, as the lotus detonated, the ominous black aura that clung to it surged toward EngSubs. Boom, boom, boom. The black aura swiftly wrapped around EngSubs' ghostly chi barrier, seeping into it. What is this? EngSubs' immense strength became evident as he managed to deal with the lotus's overwhelming explosion relatively easily. He knew the power was formidable, but he hadn't considered it to be lethal. Yet when the black aura touched his barrier, he felt a sudden, inexplicable fear. What kind of energy is this? EngSubs realized with horror that the ghostly chi defending him against the lotus's flames was rapidly weakening under the influence of the black aura. He understood that if his barrier was fully eroded, he would be left defenseless against the full brunt of the explosion. The result would be either severe injury or death. EngSubs' expression darkened. Damn it! What in the world is this? EngSubs had no time to react before the black aura consumed every last trace of his ghostly chi barrier. The sinister black energy showed no signs of relenting, clinging tightly to his Ghost Emperor armor. Shwa, shwa. As the black aura engulfed the Ghost Emperor armor, EngSubs felt it lose all its protective strength. The once impenetrable armor now felt no different from an ordinary piece of clothing. Boom, boom, boom. As EngSubs grappled with this shocking revelation, the terrifying explosion continued to rage around him. With the black aura's help, the explosion neutralized both his ghostly chi barrier and the Ghost Emperor armor, rendering them useless. Boom, boom, boom. The Lotus of Desolation had been created by Xiao Yan at his peak strength as a 7-star Do-D. So even an 8-rank Ghost Emperor like EngSubs, without any form of defense, couldn't hope to escape unscathed from such a devastating attack. EngSubs, true to his status as a Ghost Emperor, reacted swiftly upon realizing the black aura was beyond his ability to resist. His body flashed as he attempted to flee, but the black aura had already locked onto him. Fear filled his eyes as he came to the chilling realization that this black energy was none other than the soul-devouring talisman, one of the 12 demonic weapons of the ghost realm. How could a mere human possess the soul-devouring talisman? EngSubs snarled, though his voice was unheard by anyone other than Xiao Yan. Boom, boom, boom. The terrifying barrage struck EngSubs' body relentlessly, as though he were a stationary target, leaving no room for him to dodge or defend. Did we succeed? The spectators on the ground were left in shock, unable to believe that Xiao Yan had so suddenly turned the tide of the battle. Xiao Yan, you really did it. Yuru exhaled with relief, her heart finally calming down. I knew the kid could pull it off, Mu Feng added with a grin. He actually did it. Nine Soul Steel muttered in disbelief. No one could have imagined that a mere 4-star Do-D could inflict such heavy damage on an 8-rank twin Ghost Emperor. That kid doesn't just have strength. He has a sharp mind and a great sense of strategy. Changyu smiled. He's destined for greatness. Despite their exhaustion, both Changyu and Nine Soul Steel could sense that EngSubs had been gravely injured by Xiao Yan's terrifying attack. I was planning to intervene myself, but I didn't expect this kid's power to be so fearsome. We can't leave him alive. Kill him. The killing intent surged instantly. In the next moment, the space around Xiao Yan distorted strangely, and a black figure, filled with evil energy, shot toward him at lightning speed. Shwa! Shwa! A black hand reached out from the figure, slamming down toward the weakened Xiao Yan. Just as Xiao Yan became aware of the incoming attack and tried to defend himself, he found his spiritual and soul powers completely depleted, leaving him powerless and drained. Xiao Yan, watch out! A delicate voice shouted, and suddenly, a wave of blue flames enveloped Xiao Yan's body. The terrifying palm strike never reached him, as the blue flames stopped it in its tracks. The fierce handprint and the blue flames clashed, neutralizing each other. Strangely, the blue flames crept into the black figure's body, forcing the attacker to abandon his attempt to kill Xiao Yan and focus on the invading flames. These blue flames feel oddly familiar. Golden Dragon King, hidden within Xiao Yan's ring, muttered softly. He had sensed the black figure's attack from the beginning, and if Mu Yingying hadn't intervened, he would have stepped in to stop it himself. Xiao Yan, are you okay? Be careful, this guy is strong, Mu Yingying said as she and the heavenly fire sacred tiger approached Xiao Yan. Biting her lip, she glanced at him with concern. Thank you for just now, Xiao Yan said softly, pulling out a few pills and handing them to Mu Yingying. Mu Yingying hesitated at first, but, seeing the black figure, she accepted the pills and swallowed them. Failed again? Never mind. Hold them off. I'm going to protect the Ghost Emperor's soul. The black figure muttered. Another black-robed figure appeared behind him. Damn it! A 7-star Do D and a 6-star Do D? Chang Yu's expression grew serious. This is bad. Stop him. He's trying to collect the Ghost Emperor's soul. Chang Yu shouted. After all the effort it took to kill the twin Ghost Emperor and make his soul appear, if they retrieve it, another Ghost Emperor will rise. As Chang Yu spoke, Hu Du, Wu Jiang, and Xiao Yu all rushed toward the sky to stop the black-robed figures. Chang Yu positioned himself in front of Xiao Yan, Mu Yingying, and the others, knowing that they were the most promising contenders in this competition. Any harm coming to them would be unacceptable. Strangely, Xiao Yan was puzzled by how Mu Yingying's blue flames had managed to block the attack of a 7-star Do D. He glanced at her, noticing how her energy fluctuated after using the flames, but he didn't dwell on it. Nine Soul Steel and Chang Yu exchanged a glance before moving to intercept the black-robed 7-star Do D, attempting to prevent him from succeeding. We can't let him take the Ghost Emperor's soul. Otherwise, we'll be in big trouble, Nine Soul Steel said, his speed increasing rapidly. Though their Do Chi reserves were nearly depleted, both he and Chang Yu had recovered some energy thanks to the pills Xiao Yan had provided earlier. Shwa! Shwa! Anyone who stands in my way dies. The black-robed figure roared in anger. The two black-robed figures were none other than Yu Quan and Hong Yi. Even though Yu Quan had absorbed the remnants of Xie Yin from the cold pool using a secret technique, resulting in a drastic surge in power to the level of a 7-star Do D, his mind had been severely impacted, making him bloodthirsty and unstable. However, Hong Yi couldn't afford to care about that right now. This was the final step, and there was no turning back. It would be wise for all of you to stay put and avoid unnecessary suffering, the black-robed Hong Yi, a 6-star Do D, said coldly. By doing this, you are making an enemy of the entire Mystic Three Heavens. Are you not afraid of the consequences? Chang Yu, though a 7-star Do D, spoke calmly, but his Do Chi was severely depleted, and despite Hong Yi being a 6-star Do D, Chang Yu sensed an unusual power radiating from him. He hesitated to strike first, especially because his priority was to protect Mu Yingying and Xiao Yan, two exceptionally talented individuals who couldn't afford to be harmed. Don't try to intimidate me with the name of Mystic Three Heavens. I'm simply doing a job for the money, Hong Yi replied coolly. But rest assured, as long as you don't interfere, I won't cause trouble for you. After all, I have no personal obligation to help him, Hong Yi added, clearly harboring resentment for Yin Xie, who had devoured many of his subordinates. Chang Yu shook his head and chose not to say more, turning his gaze toward the center of the explosion in the sky. The blast was nearing its end, and where the infamous twin Ghost Emperor Yin Xie had once stood, now only a faint, ghostly figure remained. The twin ghost emperor was really slain by Xiao Yan. Chang Yu muttered in astonishment. While he had known Xiao Yan's attack was extraordinary, even he hadn't expected that the mighty 8-rank ghost emperor EngSubs would actually be killed by Xiao Yan. This was a legitimate kill. Even though Xiao Yan had borrowed the power of 3 7-star Do-D experts and taken advantage of EngSubs' weakened state, it was still an incredible feat. This kid is truly a monster, Chang Yu said with a smile. He had been observing Xiao Yan closely throughout the battle and couldn't help but admire his determination and strategy. Shua. Shua. It looks like I'll have to retreat for now. There are too many humans here. The black-robed figure murmured under his breath. Without further hesitation, his speed surged, and he broke past 9 Soul Steel's attempts to stop him, heading straight for the ghostly figure of the twin ghost emperor. Damn it! If only I hadn't wasted so much Do-Chi, I wouldn't have let someone like you show off in front of me. 9 Soul Steel cursed bitterly. The fact that a 7-star Do-D like him was being outmaneuvered by someone weaker was frustrating beyond measure. Shua. Shua. Ignoring 9 Soul Steel, Yu Quan appeared next to the ghostly figure, his eyes, hidden beneath the black robes, gleaming with greed. Without a second thought, he opened his massive black mouth and swallowed the remaining ghostly form of the twin ghost emperor. Damn it! Xiao Yan's pupils shrank as he watched in disbelief. Master, what kind of technique is that? Is it common in the ghost realm? Xiao Yan asked, noting the violent and sinister nature of the black-robed man's devouring ability. That doesn't look like something from the ghost realm. If anything, it's more like a human technique, Golden Dragon King responded in a low voice. But one thing's for sure, you succeeded, kid. You've got guts, the Golden Dragon King added, his tone filled with praise. Haha. Xiao Yan chuckled, clearly pleased with the devastating power unleashed by the combination of soul energy, spiritual energy, and the Lotus of Desolation. The fusion had exceeded his expectations. Though he was only at the early stage of a 4-star Do-D, he believed that with enough time, he could condense another Lotus of Desolation, and even a peak 4-star Do-D wouldn't stand a chance against him. As for a 5-star Do-D, Xiao Yan was confident that he wouldn't be easily defeated. This was Xiao Yan's greatest trump card. And I must say, the soul-devouring talisman was incredibly effective against the twin ghost emperor. I had only expected to severely wound him, but its power ended up killing him outright, destroying the body he worked so hard to find, and leaving his soul in a dazed state. This soul-devouring talisman is truly something remarkable, Xiao Yan said with a grin. After consulting with the Golden Dragon King, Xiao Yan smiled even more, but his attention quickly shifted to Mu Yingying beside him. Her forehead was covered in sweat, and her breathing was irregular, clearly showing signs of fatigue. Just now. Thank you, Xiao Yan said softly, raising his hand and sending a gentle stream of flame energy into Mu Yingying's body to help her recover. Mu Yingying hesitated for a moment, her brows slightly furrowing, but eventually, she accepted Xiao Yan's energy. After all, they were still in the forest of corpses, and it was not the time to let her guard down. It was nothing, don't worry about it, Mu Yingying replied with a faint smile. The black-robed man is making his move. Chang Yu's deep voice interrupted their conversation. Go! After devouring the twin ghost emperor's soul, Yu Quan's aura surged, and 2 distinct forces began to swirl violently within him.